Hi all, I've given this video the title No Risk No Gain because that's actually the reason why I didn't win this game. I played this game last Wednesday and I would like to show you this one because I had a better position a long time, but I didn't take at the right moment the risk that was necessary to win the game. So we have this Queen's Gambit, and here we have this position, knight to e4 played. I played bishop to d3, and my opponent played here knight d to f6. Now the best continuation here is to play f5. That's actually what has been played before in tournaments, and because he didn't play that move, so I played knight to f6. What happened is that after castling and he exchanged here two light pieces, we see that this bishop is imprisoned within its own pawn structure, and this square is not as strong as it could be for black because this pawn is on f7 instead of f5. So imagine that this pawn would be on f5 and the knight then would have gone to f6, then knight to e4 would be a strong move. The square e4 would have been much stronger supported than now. So here I thought, okay, I have a better position, I have more space, and my bishop is better than his bishop. He castled here. I played knight to e5. He went with his knight back to d7, actually admitting the mistake and seeing that he needs to push up his f-pawn. I played f4 and he played f6, and I did not want to trade the knights now. I played knight to f3 because if we now compare the pieces we see that my knight is stronger than his knight. His knight is passive. The square f6 now is taken by a pawn, so he cannot move the knight to f6, which is the natural square. Queen to e7 played. Now he's starting to prepare to play e5, so later he will play the rook to the e file and then try to play e5 to open up the center and liberate his bishop from c8. And here this is one of the moments actually when I needed to take a little risk, and what I did is try to play safe, secure, and without any risk to slowly gain more positional advantage. But what I did was not the right thing. I played here c5, thinking about the endgame, that if the heavy pieces are traded, then eventually a bishop's ending will be better for me because I have a good bishop and he has a bad bishop. Instead of that, the move e4 would have been very strong here. I did look at e4 during the game, but I thought it's not good for me to open the position because later he will be able easier to liberate his light square bishop. But actually the fact is that after, for example, d takes e4, bishop takes e4, c5, rook a to e1, c takes d4, knight takes d4, the pawn on e6 will be my next target. I can play bishop to f3, and then the rook on the e file is attacking this e4, this e6 pawn. So here actually the position gets more dynamic, it's more open, but white is still has a better position than black, more active and with more space and less weaknesses. But in the game I was playing too safe and I played c5. Rook to e8 was played, and now again I could have played e4 here, but I chose to play rook to f2 with the idea of doubling up the rooks on the f file. So if he plays e5, then the f file will be open. He played e5 indeed. F takes e5, and now bishop to f5. That's needed because he's threatening a fork here. So bishop f5 is more or less the only move. Here he took on d4, and I took back. Knight went to f6, and now we see actually that black is liberating his pieces. I played rook to e1, attacking the queen. Queen went to d8, and now knight to e5. So I was still happy with my position here, but the thing is that after queen to c7, suddenly I changed my mind about my strategy. Instead of keeping the bishops on the board with a move like bishop to c2, I played queen to c2 here. And of course black was happy to exchange the light squared bishops, and now the advantage of white is diminishing. So here I should have played bishop to c2, keeping this beautiful bishop on the long diagonal towards h7. But well, in the game, queen to c2, he took on f5, I took back, and I expected here a knight to e4. In the game he played rook to e7, but knight to e4, I had planned here to sacrifice the exchange and then give a check on c4. After king goes to h8, check on f7, and then a check on d6. Notice that the idea of giving this mate with knight h6 and queen g8, sacrificing queen, doesn't work because the queen of black is guarding the 7th rank. So knight d6 check could happen here, and then I can take here. And this position I had in my mind, and I thought this is okay for me because I control the f7 square, so I can play rook to f7 later and put more pressure. But anyway, in the game he didn't play the knight to e4, he played a rook to e7. I played my rook to f1, rook to e8, and now queen to f2, making the knights from f6 impossible to play, because then my rook goes to f8, followed by mate. He played b6 here, and here I started calculating. I was thinking about playing knight to g4 here, and I realized that if I first take on b6, the queen will take back on b6, and then I will get rid of this queen on the 7th rank, defending the 7th rank, and then after that knight to g4 will be very strong. So this is what I did. I had calculated it until this moment, and when I had this position in my mind, when I took on b6, I thought this is winning for white. The pressure is so big, I'm threatening mate in 2, queen takes f6, and then rook to g5 mate. And what I didn't see was actually a very simple defense for him, and that's queen to d8. And suddenly I realized that my advantage is going away, and my strategy didn't work. So here again, actually I didn't take the risk that was needed. A good move would have been rook takes f6. I did some calculation during the game, and I didn't like this position. I thought here black becomes active again. Later he can play rook to e4 and capture the d4 pawn maybe. So I didn't like this, and well, according to the Fritz engine, this is still better for white because of the ideas that white can attack on the king side. For example, first removing the queen from h4 and later playing rook to f7 to attack h7. But in the game I found it too risky, and what I did is I took on f6 with the queen, and after the exchange of queens we got this position that is actually a draw. He offered me a draw here, and I accepted it because I cannot avoid the perpetual check by black, for example, like this here. So that's the game, and well, it's sometimes difficult to assess the position in such a way that you know when to take a risk and when to go slow. I hope this was an interesting video, and leave your comments on YouTube. Goodbye.